The Piano Sonata No. 17 in D minor, Op. 31, No. 2, was composed in 1801 February by Ludwig van Beethoven. It is usually referred to as the Tempest, but the sonata was not given this title by Beethoven, or indeed referred to as such during his lifetime. The name comes from a claim by his associate Anton Schindler that the sonata was inspired by the Shakespeare play. However, much of Schindler's information is distrusted by classical music scholars. The British music scholar Donald Francis Tovey says in A Companion to Beethoven's Pianoforte Sonatas, "With all the tragic power of its first movement, the D minor sonata is, like Prospero, almost as far beyond tragedy as it is beyond mere foul weather. It will do you no harm to think of Miranda at bars 31 Euro 38 of the slow movement. But people who want to identify Ariel and Caliban and the castaways, good and villainous, may as well confine their attention to the exploits of Scarlet Pimpernel when the Eroica or the C minor symphony is being played." Structure: the piece consists of 3 movements and takes approximately 25 minutes to perform: Largo Euro Allegro, Adagio, Allegretto. Each of the movements is in sonata form, though the second lacks a substantial development section. First movement equals. The first movement alternates brief moments of seeming peacefulness with extensive passages of turmoil, after some time expanding into a haunting storm in which the peacefulness is lost. This musical form is unusual among Beethoven sonatas to that date. Concerning the time period and style, it was thought of as an odd thing to write. A pianist's skills were demonstrated in many ways, and showing changes in tone, technique and speed efficiently many times in one movement was one of them. The development begins with rolled, long chords, quickly ending to the tremolo theme of the exposition. There is a long recitative section at the beginning of this movement's recapitulation, again ending with fast and suspenseful passages. Second movement equals. The second movement in B-flat major is slower and more dignified. The rising melodic ideas in the opening 6 measures are reminiscent of the first movement's recitative. Other ideas in this movement mirror the first, for instance, a figure in the 8th measure and parallel passages of the second movement are similar to a figure in the 6th measure of the first. Third movement equals. The third movement is a sonata rondo hybrid in the key of D minor. It is at first flowing with emotion and then reaching a climax, before moving into an extended development section which mainly focuses on the opening figure of the movement, reaching a climax at measures 169 Euro 173. The recapitulation, which is preceded by an extensive cadenza-like passage of 16th notes for the right hand, is followed by another transition and then another statement of the primary theme. The refrain undergoes phrase expansion to build tension for the climax of the movement at measure 381, a fortissimo falling chromatic scale. External links: a lecture by Andrew S. Schiff on Beethoven's Piano Sonata Op. 31 No. 2, recording of this sonata by Alberto Cobo, recording of this sonata by Serge van Gennep, recording of this sonata by Pivoli Jumpanen from the Isabella Stewart Gardner Museum. For a public domain recording of this sonata visit Masopin, Piano Sonata No. 17, Scores at the International Music Score Library Project.